guys, this is Breaker, and I went ahead and downloaded yet another replay from the casted subsection of StarCraft 2 on Reddit, and I figured I'd go ahead and give both players their introduction. It's not my first time casting this guy as a player. He's pretty good. I mean, Masters League, come on. You'd have to be mistaken if you said he was a bad player. He's in the top 2%. His name is forsakeNXE. From here on out, I'll just call him Forsaken. And in the upper left-hand corner, spawning as our blue Terran, his name is simply quaintly Benny. Yes, that's right, Benny. Don't get it wrong either, guys. Come on. Now, the map that we are on is Akilon Flats. If we get a look in and see just like what on earth could possibly be done here on this entire map, there's a slew of possibilities for proxy play. I mean, come on, just look at this. It's so difficult for in TVT for players to actually get full vision of what is going on around their base. Of course, excuse me. It looks as though forsakeNXE is actually being a little bit more cautious and just doing a full scout around his base. I've seen a proxy go down up here before, then Reapers get popped out. Things like that. And so far it looks like, I mean, both players are going for somewhat standard play. I mean, the Reaper being the new standard. It is, of course, an early game harass unit. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what is Forsaken doing here? Okay, never mind. I was thinking for a minute, just maybe it was going to be an SCV from Benny. Now, the two SCVs did just kind of do a bump and go. Yeah, it's like, okay, how are you guys? How are you today? Yeah, we're gonna kill your shed. Oh, no, you're not. I'm gonna kill your shed. Okay. Basically that kind of thing. But, yeah, it looks like we have Forsaken. You really want some defensive vision, if you will. This is here because, of course, on 1-1-1 opening can lead to Hellion drops in this direction. Of course, with Ignite Afterburners being activated, like, you're really gonna need as much vision as you can possibly get. Factory right here. Hang on just a moment. Aside from this, I actually think that we see Forsaken in a bit of a dangerous position. He's only getting Marines out defensively thus far, but I don't know. Like, I'm thinking once this reactor is finished, we're gonna see maybe double Reapers get cranked out. It would also be like, it wouldn't be entirely beyond me to actually see a factory go down as well. But of course, we already see the command center coming from forsakeNXE. I'm a little curious, just how is this going to get followed up? Here we go. Yes, the Xingjigang, which is actually just Chinese for the starport, basically. Alright, now we do have a factory here in construction from Forsaken. No, like, I mean, both players, if we were to check the economy right now, we'll see that Forsaken will be ahead just slightly, just a little bit. But I'm waiting for something to really, I don't know, fall in line with what we could say is the uploading line to this video on YouTube, or to this cast, excuse me, this replay that was available through Casted. Interesting choice by forsakeNXE. He's actually going for looks like a starport right now. I mean, like, his opponent's already had one out for a while, and this could actually be really bad for both players if they time it out just the right way. Benny actually going for, I'm a little curious, where's he gonna go first? Is he gonna go the main or the natural? The big advantage that we see with Forsaken having right now would be the fact that he's already got two orbital commands. One of them being right here, and the other one, of course, already being in the main. The one right over here is getting ready to be floated to the natural, but of course it looks like we're waiting for forsakeNXE to reach optimal saturation first. Defensive Widow Mines in the wrong position, and this is gonna hurt. Forsaken a lot. He's actually getting us around on all this. This is not going to be good. And oh my god, one of the Widow Mines does fall. Oh, but the other one is still there. Unfortunately, yes. Only one worker falls and all of that. Quite wasteful in my opinion, but it's alright. I think we'll see him hold this just fine. He just has to get some kind of detection out, some kind of scanning. Yeah. And it looks like he'll be good to go for the next 10 seconds, but we really need that scan right now. Come on, get that scan going. Jeez, that was a little, that almost had me panicking, but yeah, it looks like Forsaken's good to go now. Behind this, we actually see that Benny's going directly for construction of his natural. And the follow-up that he has chosen to go with is a Banshee. Not the best choice considering he's already seen such a substantial number of Marines here. But and also given the fact that there are Widow Mines and the Banshee's going to arrive right here, just as long as it cloaks, the Widow Mine will not be able to attack it. Assuming there are Widow Mines, but this Banshee is gonna get microed here. Is it gonna? Oh my god! One Widow Mine did connect with it. It's got 15 HP left. There are no Marines. There's only 2 Marines over here. All they have to do is go over here and scan, and they'll be good to go. They'll be perfectly safe. We also have another Banshee coming out in this direction. It looks like it's getting ready to attack the natural, but oh my god, all you have to do, Forsaken, all you have to do is send 2 Marines over there and throw down a scan, and it looks like, ooh, speaking of Marines, these guys actually managed to kill the SCV that was building that natural. And now we actually have Benny in a bit of a critical position. Yes, he's killing lots of workers, but at the same time, he doesn't have his own second command center up. And that is just as we see Forsaken barging into the natural of the main of his opponent. Looks like here we have a Viking going into defensive mode at the natural, as well as the missile turret, but of course there's 2 Banshees here to deal with what we have from the Marines. Red HP Banshee, and it looks like that was actually rather, I want to say, rather quaint, rather effective. It looks like the Marines are trying to focus down the Widow Mine. It's not going to happen, and oh boy, that's, yeah, it's not quite working out too well for Forsaken. He only got 4 worker kills throughout the entire game, but it's okay. He's had 2 bases for such a much longer time, and speaking of 2 bases, we actually, jeez, I'm curious, did the medevac see that? No, it didn't. We got a bit of a hidden natural, if you will, but it's not a natural location. A hidden second base, if you will, a hidden third, whatever, between. And, let's see here, forsakeNXE, you know, he's just continuing to tack on more and more economy. That's where I want to say he's got a significant lead over his opponent, Benny. Benny right now, I mean, like, how much of his supply is tied up in workers? That's what I want to know. 27. That means only 20 of his supply is basically army count. And 2 more command centers. I think maybe this is a little bit overkill, but it's alright. And we have Benny just opting to return some economic damage with the 2 Banshees that he had from earlier. One of them he did repair kind of fully. But this, I think, is not going to work out too well in his favor. There's 3 Banshees, yes, but if they get clumped up at just the right moment, using Banshees like they're mutas, you can't use that, you can't do that, you can't snipe the supply depot and then just get out of there like it's nothing. Alright, so here we go. 2 Banshees going down this way, and it looks like this Banshee's trying to kill some Marines, but I mean, of course, the problem is Banshees are so much more expensive. When we check like losses for both players, sure, Forsaken has already taken more, even to now. And this could actually be bad for, I don't know, this could be substantially bad for Forsaken if he doesn't get this just right. I don't know what, I've never seen Marines, straight up Marines going up against straight up Hellbats. That, I think, is a very dangerous thing to see. Looks like the Banshee's cloak is just worn off the natural, and this one's not going to survive, no. No more economic damage being done for the time being, but of course if we look at the economic lead of Forsaken, he's just doing, you know, absurdly well right now. But of course Benny, he's got a huge huge opportunity, a huge window of opportunity to come back in all of this. He did have a third first. He's got another orbital command right here, if you will. And now we have basically Benny trying to break down. He doesn't see the rocks. He's trying to break down. Excuse me. He doesn't see the Marines that are coming his way, but he's trying to break down what he has to deal with right now. There's 2 Banshees, yes, but of course, a scan can easily deal with both of them as they are both in red health, and Benny is in a bit of a bad position right now. Ouch! It looks like we have the Marines stimming up and going straight into the mineral line. This is not gonna end well for Benny. Excuse me, I called out the wrong player. Forsaken just stimming up and moving in there. Looks like this tank will fall, and this one is just about to. Marines will be dealt with appropriately, but they. Oh wait, no, the micro. Marine walks into the bar, and there's no counter, ladies and gentlemen. This is the story that tells it all. Yeah, no stim button on those Hellbats. But here, you know, I mean, it's all just micro, and every single bit of damage that we see Forsaken doing to Benny is like salt in his wounds. But it looks like, I think this will be the last bit of pressure that we see from our Red Terran. We check the economy. Like, I want to say the biggest problem for Benny was that there he took a lot of damage. He lost a lot of. He just lost a ton in the way of workers. Like, what was that? The entire mineral line he had lost? Over the course of the game, 31 workers had been killed, up until even now at this point. These 2 Banshees almost at full health, or excuse me, almost at, well, kind of getting up there in terms of energy, but not full energy. It'd definitely help if he could actually, you know, put them, if he could actually get them repaired and put them around, say, the Vespian geysers here. Here we go, Forsaken, no, not Forsaken, but Benny is actually opting to return the damage now with a good deal of Hellbats. He's cranking 3 at a time out, but I'm thinking that's gonna leave his defenses relatively slim. I mean, just look at what he's got right here. He's got 3 Hellbats being cranked out at a time, sure, but I know it's just Marines. There's so many of them. Oh no, and this could actually be quite bad. It looks like we have Forsaken going for the 3rd. Oh man. And it looks like, here we go. At the same time, we have lots of workers getting dropped at the main of Forsaken. Meanwhile, he actually just barges in and kills everything there. And so far, I want to say players are relatively even in terms of their army count, but I mean, economic damage, you know, if we just look and see what we have Forsaken on right now, he's only on 1 full mining base. Mains are about to go dry for both players, but I think, oh no, hold that thought. This could actually end very badly for Benny. Yes, Forsaken is actually fully exploiting the immobility of a mech army. And it's such a beautiful thing to see when it is done successfully. Tanks, not the best thing to use against Marines when they are not clustered together, and it looks like they're gonna get dropped. Yes. Now the tanks are doing damage to themselves. Here we go. What is this? The Banshees. One of them does not quite escape, but it looks like the main. Not the main. Yeah, the orbital command and the main. Well, I was going to say that it got destroyed, but it didn't. Checking the income of both players, we actually have Benny ahead in this. But this is just absurd. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like both players are willing to throw away workers. Both players losing almost 50 workers at this stage. And both players going for unidentical compositions. This is, fundamentally speaking, like watching a League Buta player go up against a Roach Hydra Investor player in CBC, but of course, could be, you know, I mean, but the process by which we see damage being done will be entirely different, and also Forsaken has been on 3 bases for slightly longer after seeing the third of Benny get destroyed. Biggest problem that I see here for Benny, the biggest problem that I see here for Benny is that he doesn't quite have the anti-air. The big, and of course this one tank right here is actually getting a bunch of free tank kills. Scan finally goes down. 2 siege tanks finally deal with that one. Marauders, of course, here in the mix as well, and they're actually, you know, they're gonna slow down everything that comes at it. They're like the absolute counter to everything here, except for maybe the Hellbats. But here we go. Forsaken actually in a tough spot right now. If we were to see Benny just continue to push in, I think maybe you would see some kind of repeated success. Most of the army count is actually tied up in medevacs presently, not army that's actually on the ground and able to shoot at Hellbats. Looks like we have finally Forsaken opting to take the looks like I want to say the pocket bottom right expo, if you will. This game is just going in all kinds of directions, guys. I don't know how to describe it. But here we go. Salt in the wounds of Forsaken. Just building an engineering bay right here. But of course, there won't be a 4th orbital command there anytime soon, as we see that the 4th was opted to be put here. And at the same time, we have a drop going down. This is actually, you know, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I mean, just look at this. Both players willing to throw away workers. I mean, 60 at this stage in the game. You know, the uploader was not kidding when he said it's not a good day to be a worker. And here we go, the drop is going back to the game. Is that a Manor Mule by Benny, I wonder? Oh, man. At any rate, with that being said, it looks like Benny's actually going to try and, I don't know, he's not aware that there's actually a main army that's actually moving straight across the map to come and see him. That's the biggest deficiency about this map. Like, there's no control for anyone, and now this could actually be the game-ending mistake that Benny makes. If we just look at it right here, he's going to lose his natural again. That is the craziest part about this map. There is no Zelnaga Watchtower to give anyone vision of what is going on in the middle of the map, so the best thing that we can do is probably put sieged up tank or 2 right here, maybe another one right here. And then just do what we can to get vision of course, forsakeNXE, throwing away a small force to get rid of natural Benny. And all the workers that were there, that takes its income to at half of what we see for Forsaken, at least in terms of the mineral count, and the biggest advantage that we see for Forsaken is that a good deal of his units are actually in the form of Marines. You know, it's basically, you know, they're the staple food of his army, if you will. Sorry, that was the wrong button. Checking the army count right now, it's actually, ouch. Slightly in favor of Benny, but at the same time, he doesn't quite have the mobility that, Marine Marauder tank does. Ouch. One is the game tank, one of them just seems to fall right here. And we have Benny getting kind of choked here. He doesn't quite want to get caught in this kind of position, but it looks like the Marauders finally fall. That being said, we have... Oh, man, these tanks look like they got misclicked. 1 or 2 do get sniped. And right now, if we see that, basically, if Benny cannot end the game right here, he's going to fall behind significantly. It looks like the medevac drops have finally been too much. And as well as the worker count. Sorry, guys, I'm getting messages on Facebook. Alright, so that was for that message I just got on Facebook was actually for the Asia StarCraft League, but if you guys are interested, holy hell, this looks like both players are going into a low econ situation, but of course Forsaken has the larger army count. If you guys just check it out right here, yes, absurdly higher. Go, and the entire army just stems up and A moves into what we see here for Benny. I don't know if Benny's going to be able to hold against this. His tanks have worse positioning than, I mean, like, his tanks have better positioning than what was here before. But of course, the higher ground, the vision that we see that Forsaken has, and all the Marauders and everything else is coming back to Waffle Stomp what we have here for Benny. And this is essentially good game.
especially given the fact that he has no workers here that are mining or capable of mining. God, the number of workers killed in this game has just reached over 100. The biggest mineral difference that we see right now is, excuse me, the biggest difference that we see, I don't know how to begin to describe it. Maybe an income, but yeah. Oh boy, Forsaken is actually at only 100 minerals per second. So if we actually see that this base can get denied yet again, then I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, we'll see Benny. He's got a chance to bring himself back in this game already, but if we check the worker count presently, he does not want to let these workers live. He's got to do something about them ASAP. Need more and more static, and of course this one as well. It looks like we actually finally know. With this many mineral patches, I think it would be entirely worth it to just move the main natural. And this is not going to help Benny whatsoever. He's basically destroying away army without seeing it. And adding to that, his army is not as mobile as that of forsakeNXE. He's got nothing in the sky to scout for what he's got on the ground, especially the tanks. This tank is kind of within shooting range of these tanks, but he has no vision of them. And now if we look at the work, you know, just like everything that's been lost as a whole throughout this entire game, it certainly hasn't been in favor of Benny whatsoever. Now we see that actually Benny is in a really tough spot. He's going to lose, it looks like, this base maybe again. If not all the workers that are there, and finally sieged up kind of, you know, he hasn't even sieged up a defensive position just yet. Ouch. And he's trying to siege up. He can hit these tanks from here. Finally, we have a siege up in response to that. And now the waters. Oh my god, I just don't know where to go with this. It's just so confusing. I think Benny knows just what kind of position he is in right now. He's not in a winning one. And now we kind of have these tanks in a sort of semi-defensive one. And it's just going to take raw numbers to power these two tanks right here. Checking the income right now, Forsaken is actually much, much further ahead than Benny. Over 100 workers, close to 200 workers have been killed over the course of this entire game, guys. It's, like, that is literally 199 workers that have been killed up to this point. The most I've ever seen from a game that, I've casted not from a replay, but actually with a live observer position would be the Russia Ripmix StarCraft League, where we saw over basically 230 workers killed over the course of the game. I believe it was a ZVT matchup. The T was going mech. And it looks like forsakeNXE is gonna move back in here, stemming for the win. Trying to chase down some tanks and concussive shells are going to help him, but it looks like this positioning might be a little superb for Benny. Yeah, maybe not. The numbers are just a little too great for Forsaken, but of course, it looks like all the Marines and the Marauders were worn down. Siege tanks, not the best unit to deal with Hellbats, especially when they're being healed by medevacs. What would have been absolutely brilliant there is if we simply had Benny paying attention to what we saw from Forsaken. He could have lifted up one or two of those Hellbats and then dropped them right there. And speaking of drops, it looks like this base did take some harass. It looks like this base will take some more harass, yes. The biggest problem that we see from Benny is he doesn't realize how far behind he is. So look at this, now both players are even 111 workers killed over the course of this game, and it looks like this is going to go up to 227 for the time being. Tanks moving into this mineral line along with the Marines and the Marauders. And now I think I've just entered a new record of workers killed, 240 over the course of a single game. But this is not, of course, a live ops position. Oh my god. They killed SCVs. Alright, checking out what we have here. Forsaken, still at a steady-ish 46 workers. The only problem is finding stable mining bases, if you will. Medevac's getting shot down. You know, he's going to need the supply, I think. You know, it's not really the supply, but he's going to need their power later on in the game. Checking the income right now, Forsaken seriously having a huge lead, and let's go back and just get a quick glimpse of how many workers were killed over the course of this game. My god, 253, 54. now it looks like we have Benny. You know, he's not really throwing away tanks. It's just that he doesn't realize that his positioning isn't superb enough to deal with them. And it looks like the Marauder and the tank destroyed each other about the same time. Checking upgrades right now. Ouch, ouch, ouch. More drops, drops, drops. Okay. We actually don't have Forsaken with any upgrades, but the upgrades for the tanks that we see here from Benny, they are superb. It's no wonder why he's been able to hold his ground this long. These are actually doing basically 60. They're doing like a substantial amount of damage versus anything that is armored. When they're in siege mode, I believe they do a total of 65 damage to other siege or to anything that is armored, really. But of course, when they're not in siege mode, they still do rather satisfactory damage. Not at all bad. And of course, the scans are going down. What are they trying to do? I think Benny's, you know, he's on one of his last limbs because actually the base that we see here is about to go dry. And of course, this one, it's not in much better position. There it is. We actually have Forsaken basically moving in here to kill this. Ouch! And he didn't even lift it up. I mean, it probably wouldn't have done him too much good. There are a few Marines here that are stemmed, and they are 3-3. That would make a huge difference in all these engagements. And unfortunately, it looks like this tank will fall without killing, without even raising the main force of Forsaken. Like basically, like this little harassment force. It's been stemmed. It can A move in, but it's not A moving in. It's basically just I guess here to cut off reinforcements. Tanks are being re-rallied over here, and the medevacs will be able to drop freely onto those tanks once they do siege up. Of course, we see Forsaken. You know, he's willing to sack his third player, but I mean, there are some sacks that you just can't make it. This game is getting increasingly out of hand as 286 workers have been killed over the course of this game. Absurd, guys. I gotta say, this is the greatest number of workers I've ever seen killed in any game, and it's about to get even higher. It would be completely absurd if we could actually get past 300. Instead, God, Bio is here. And with that, he leaves the game. Looks like we didn't get past 300, guys, but it was damn, you know. It's really something else. Benny realized that, you know, there was just some things he couldn't do. He also didn't have anything that could attack air from the ground, so I mean, if he had taken it into a full base trade scenario, he would have lost inevitably. You know, the numbers would have been too high here in the natural. And his opponent had things that could shoot up, which means they could take down every single every single orbital commander, every single building that could actually lift up. So yeah. If you guys liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This is Breaker. I will bring you guys more information about the Asia StarCraft League as I have it in the near future. I'll see you guys next time.